Hi, I'm Sophie Gilbert. I'm the author of Girl on Girl, How Pop Culture Turned a Generation of Women Against Themselves. It's a book about the popular culture of the 2000s and what it did to women. Chapter 1 of the book is about music, specifically about the ways in which shifts in the music industry mirrored what was happening with shifts in feminism at the same time. I was interested in the through line from the riot girl movement and the really feisty activist energy of women in rock music in the early 90s to the much more plasticized spectacle of pop in the 2000s. One of the tipping points, devastatingly for me because I was a huge fan at the time, was the Spice Girls. They had the same slogan as the riot girl movement, girl power, but they used it in a much more anodyne way. Girl power, as the Spice Girls manifested it, wasn't about agitating for change or provocation. It was about celebrating girlhood. It was so enticing visually, the different styles, the colorful performances, the strutting energy, and it was very good at selling things. Within their first year and a half as a band, the Spice Girls had signed something like $500 million worth of branding and marketing deals. And once corporations saw how effectively they could tap into teenage girls as a demographic, they weren't so interested in the pissed off women of rock. This shift to me also reflects how third wave feminism got blunted over the course of the decade by post-feminism, which was much less activist, much more celebratory, and much more interested in selling things to women. The new model for pop during the 2000s emphasized what stars looked like, not what they said with their music. In 2003, when Natalie Maines of the Dixie Chicks made comments about the Iraq War at a concert in London, the backlash was instantaneous. Maines and her band were instantly cancelled by country for saying what they thought. They were blacklisted from the radio. One station put trash cans outside its headquarters for people to get rid of their Chicks albums. They got death threats and they had to have a police escort to shows. And I think what's so interesting to me now, and so revealing about the ways in which things have actually changed for the better, is that we have a new industry of female stars in pop who refuse to be silent. Chappell Roan has been very vocal about wanting her fans to respect her boundaries, and has spoken about how much pressure there is on musicians to be perfect anodyne spokespeople. Sabrina Carpenter has refused to bow to criticism of the sexualized elements of her live shows, insisting that people who might be offended by that simply shouldn't come. Tochi has spoken about her own sexuality, as well as her vulnerability as an artist. After witnessing what happened to the pop stars of the 2000s, who were torn apart in front of our eyes, even as they tried to do exactly what was wanted of them, these new artists don't seem willing to accept such bad terms of stardom. And it's really thrilling and energizing to see them speak up for themselves and to incorporate sexuality into their music in ways that don't really care what other people think. If you're interested in more connections between what's happening now in culture and what happened in the earlier decades, there's more in my book, Girl on Girl.